Welcome to Heartcraftpaper. I'm so glad that you can join me today. My name is Monica. Today's video is made for the Crafter's Castle Challenge. Don't forget to join in on the fun. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Farmer's Market digital set from Tailor Made Cards for You. We will begin in Design Space, looking for a coupon book. I have found one that I liked, but I wanted to see if there's any more under this particular grouping. So I'm going to select this coupon book and bring it into the work area. Now it's time to bring our images into Design Space. I will do this by clicking on the upload file and then browse so I can find the files. Once I've found the files that I need, I will go ahead and click the folder and then select the image that I would like to import. In this case, I'm going to start by bringing in the recipe cards. Once the recipe cards are in, you'll see that we have 3 selections. I'm going to go with complex, which means that the image is very complex and not a simple black and white. You'll note that there are 2 different erasers. One is a magic eraser and will automatically delete colors selected. And in this case, we selected the white in order to remove the background. Once the background is removed, I'm going to go ahead and slide the card up and down to make sure I have not missed anything. And then I'm going to go ahead and send. Once I've got that in, you'll see that I have the actual print and then a cut of the shape. So this is dependent on what you would like to do. I'm going to go ahead and select the print and cut and then name the file. This is allowing me to search in the future to find this particular file. I will repeat this process with several other images, and as you can see, I just simply come and bring that file in, remove the white. Now there are some files that we have here that aren't necessarily just a full white file, such as this particular pumpkin seed pack. As you can see, it does have the font. Once I remove the background, the font remains. Select the eraser tool, enlarge the actual radius of the eraser, and simply erase. We'll repeat this process with the remaining vegetable seed pack. Once everything is in, we'll go ahead and import onto our mat. With all the images imported, it's now time to organize and resize. Now I'm going to resize the images to 8.5 inches wide, with the exception of the recipe cards. Those will remain as they are for now. Now I'm going to bring in a square shape. This is going to be placed over one of these recipe cards. This will be so that I can slice these and create them as independent files. I will select the square and then the recipe image, go to slice, and that will create several pieces. You'll see the frame from where the cutout was from the card and then the gray section. I've deleted that so that I can work with this particular card in order to resize it to the size of the coupon book. I have copied the width of the coupon book, and now I just need to paste that width onto the recipe card. I will also modify the height as well. Now you'll see that I'll come in and double check to make sure I have the proper height and width. Once I have the height and width set perfectly, I'm going to duplicate this coupon book. I will place this right over top of my recipe card. The reason I'm doing this is so that I can actually create the holes in the same exact place that it is on the coupon cover. I'll go ahead and use the slice function for this. As you'll see, it die cut the holes for me and then as well as removed the actual coupon book itself. Now I have the perfect card. All that's left to do is duplicate this particular card several times to however many I would like to use. I duplicated it for 6 copies, but I think I only ended up using 5 at the very end. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and move around some of these items to clean up a little bit of my workspace. I'm gonna work the pumpkin seed packs next. I need to make individual packages, so in order to do this, I'm going to go ahead and slice, utilizing a rectangle piece and just going over them and repeating the same process that I had for my recipe card. Since the pumpkin packs are duplicates, I decided to change this up. I went into the pattern, and as you can see, you can keep the actual artwork or you can change it to a specific pattern or a solid. Included in this package, there are 2 sets of prints. I'm going to go ahead and select one of them. This is the actual fruit that you see here in yellow. I will repeat this process of slicing for the remaining seed packs. Now I want to work a front cover and a back cover. For this particular image, the coupon book, I ungrouped it and removed the font since we're really not going to need it. I'm going to use the second pattern that was in the pack. This is a green gingham. I will begin by setting this to print. As you can see, I can select pattern and then come back in and select the gingham pattern. I'm also able to edit the pattern itself within Design Space. As you can see here, I can make it actually larger, smaller, move the actual image itself or the pattern from left to right, up or down, as well as flip horizontally and vertically. Once I've finished all of my adjustments, all I have to do is close out. Since I'm working the cover, I want to work this particular image, which is the farmer's market, since that's going to be on the front cover itself. I've come in and sliced it with an oval shape in order to separate it out from the other images. I'm going to place this image onto a duplicated oval that I kept, the same size as the one that I used for slicing. I'm going to resize this oval so that way there's not that much white space. Once I have the oval to the size that I want, I'm going to make sure that I have both images selected. This will be so that I can come down and flatten the image. Once I've flattened it, it will now create a print and cut file. Here I've duplicated one of the covers and I'm going to make it a solid. I want it to match the color of the paper that I'm going to use, so I've made it red. I'm going to go ahead and slice out these little file folders here. That's the little farm and fruit, and then the little farmer that's there, as well as the other remaining ephemera. In order to give me a better idea of where I want my items to be, I just lay them out here generally, and then once I put my craft together, I'll make my final decision as to how I want them laid out. Initially, I didn't bring in the jam labels, but I decided to go ahead and bring them aboard. Now I have resized them. I'm gonna go ahead and slice one out. I don't wanna have to work and slice each and every individual one, so I can just duplicate. It'll be much easier for me. Now I'm just gonna resize this so that way it fits onto the card, and also big enough for it to actually be a label if someone should want to use it for any of their jams that they should make. I'm gonna duplicate these 5 times over. I'll repeat this process with the second mini folder as well as the secondary labels. I'm just gonna go ahead and set this particular image to green. Time to slice and dice the last of the ephemera. I just wanna make sure that these are individual images. I'm gonna go ahead and work the pages for my envelopes. I wanna make sure I have a little something on the back, the front, as well as making sure that it's a different color. Now I'm gonna go with ivory on this, so I have to make sure that I adjust this. This gives me a better idea of how things are gonna look. Just because you don't have to change the color and you're gonna use whatever, it gives you a better idea of what's going on. Once I have everything where I want it, or I think how it's gonna look, I'm gonna group them just like I've grouped everything else, because this will help me save space and everything moves together. I decided I didn't want to have a plain white backing to the recipe cards, so I printed out another sheet So that way I can bring in one of the farmhouse prints, and I'm going to use the green gingham to place on the back of my recipe cards. This way, if the recipient would like to add pictures of their recipes, they can go ahead and add those right onto the back. Now that I have the pattern in the way that I want it, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this a couple of times. I'm just going to bring in a banner so it can act as a label for that one particular envelope that doesn't have any type of vegetable or anything associated with it, just to give it a little bit more of a look. All that's left is to save the project with the name that I'd like. Time to send this off to the mat. All right, here we have all of our items. The first set of items are these envelopes, and as you can see, they're quite cute. We have all 4 of these, different vegetables, different prints, and I absolutely love them. Go ahead and set these aside for now. Next are the recipe cards, and as you can see, they are blank on the back, but they have a recipe for, from, and serves. You have this space here to write in your recipes. Next, I have the cover and backing of the recipe book, as well as the backings for the recipe cards. This is the mini folder, and this is where the green labels are going to be held. Here I have the banner and the backings for some of my envelopes. And as you can see, they're a nice ivory white. Now, here I have the next mini envelope for the strawberry jam. As you can see, it is matching. And I have the coordinating papers, the red and the green. Last but not least, I have the additional ephemera that I cut, and you have some cucumbers, you have a farm, then this one is a vegetable planting table, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but it does have quite a lot of print on there and dates. The cucumber, this is, it looks like an egg saver, and I don't know, but that's really cute. I love that. And this is actually from the Walnut Vale farm, I guess for milk and dairy. Oops, I almost forgot to show you the peas. Now this one is going to be the backing for one of my envelopes. And finally, this is going to go on the cover, which is the farmer's market. I began by working my recipe cards first. I have 2 that I'm going to set aside for the covers, and the rest I'm going to use for the backing here on my recipe cards. I'm just going to flip this over and put it back to back. So as you can see, it'll have a front and back. So that will look really nice. All you'll need here is just a bit of glue. We're going to go ahead and use any type of liquid glue that we have and just adhere it onto the back. Don't go too heavy-handed on the glue. You want to make sure it's nice thin strips, otherwise this will become pretty warped and hard. Press down firmly. Now time to repeat the same process with the rest of my cards. We're ready to move on. I'm going to go ahead and put this first gingham as the cover and just kind of lay these out in the order that I think I might want to put these in. So as you can see, I'm selecting the color selection, which I might end up changing at the very end, but this helps me organize just a little bit. Here I'm putting the backing on so that it is facing outwards, just like the front cover. Front and back have to be showing. I decided to use this moss green crinkle binding in order to bind my book together. So this is a really apt name. I really love this color, and look at how well that matches. Ready to start decorating. Let's begin with the red cardstock. This is the mini file with the red gingham. Simply fold it over. That's how simple it is to actually use this. And I love the little farmer with his little plow. I mean, this is just adorable. All right, let's figure out placement and where I want to glue this down. So I do know that I want to leave a little bit of space here between the actual punch outs here, as well as the frame itself. Now, to adhere this, I used a strip Velcro that I cut into a smaller strip. These are so easy to use, just peel, stick, and press. To decorate this, I'm going to go ahead and use the farm. I'm going to place it sideways, not like how I had it in Design Space. Now, just to bring in my jam labels and insert that into the little file folder. And as you can see, it's pretty secure with that Velcro there. Slip it in and close. I'm going to repeat the process with the green cardstock, with the difference being in the color, the bit of ephemera that I'm using, as well as the mini files and labels, but it works just the same. Moving on to the ivory cardstock, here I have the 4 envelopes. This is pretty easy to fold down, so all you have to do is fold over the tabs one by one. Once ready, seal down the tabs with liquid glue. I just had to move over my fold just a little bit because it didn't quite close as much as I would like, so I redid the folding in order to make sure that it adhered. Now, I really love these little envelopes. They're really cute. I love the image that it has on the front. I might not necessarily put this down the way that I would like, where you can use it kind of to seal, because I want that image to show. So what I'm gonna do is make it more or less a pocket. So I'm gonna glue it with the opening on the envelope to the back, and then just trim off the tip of the tab, so that way that it's able to be used as a pocket more or less, and you can put anything that you would like in there. And I decorate the back with a bit of ephemera just to give it more of a personal touch, not necessarily to make it useful, but more decorative. I don't want it to look too plain on the back. And here you go, pocket ready. On to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process several times to complete the 3 ivory cards. Now, one of the envelopes is actually going to go on the back of my red or green card, more as a decoration. So you'll see that in a little bit. I ended up deciding to use 2 of the envelopes on the green and the other on the red cardstock on the back. This way, if whomever uses this wants to add a little something on the back of these little jam cards, they can. And finally, I'm just gonna go ahead and add this to the backing just so it has a little bit of decoration. And here I have my card set out. Now, this is the banner, and I'm going to be using that here on this non-descriptive envelope, just so that way whomever receives this can write a little something on there to identify what's in there. So it really does depend on the person. Right, time to work my cover. We're almost done here. I'm using this farmer's market label that I created. I'm going to adhere this down utilizing a 1/4 inch foam tape. I'm just gonna make sure that I have enough across the back to offer good support. Peel and then stick. Or that as you're sticking it, that it is centered more or less towards the right, as you're gonna have your ribbon passing through the holes here. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and bring in my crinkle binding and just thread this through the holes. Be gentle. I decided to go one by one in order to make sure that I don't rip the punch outs. Now I'm actually loving the color of this binding. It's absolutely stunning, and it fit this particular project very well. Now I am gonna go ahead and tie a bow. This will bind it all together, and as you go, you'll see that once you tie it, it tightens and sets everything into place. Now, one of the great things about this project is that it is very easy and quick to actually put together. It doesn't take very long. I think this is a perfect housewarming gift. I still think this needs a little something, so I'm coming in with some pearl embellishments here and there. Here we go. This is the perfect little gift. You have some recipe pages in the front, and on the back you can add pictures of the recipe that you made. Now I did end up with 5 of these, just because I didn't want to make the booklet quite so thick. Here I have the little mini envelope with the jam labels, and you can just fit those in there. It's got a little pocket that has this label here that the recipient can write on, and again, you can add a couple of knickknacks here and there. Here you have the pumpkin seed package. You can add in maybe some toasted pumpkin seeds in a little baggie. It has the table on the back. You have the lettuce, and here are the rest of the labels. As you can see, I decided to change that up a little bit, and then the backing. And that does it for today's tutorial. I will link all the items needed to make this particular project in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this project. Don't forget to visit thecrafterscastleblogspot.com. For more videos and tutorials like these, don't forget to subscribe. Visit the blog for more information at www.heartcraftpaper.com. Thanks for watching Heartcraft Paper.